stepmother told Hansel and Gretel that they were all going to gather firewood. As they walked deeper and deeper into the woods, Hansel would stop now and then to look toward his house. Hansel was scolded by his stepmother for being slow, but he was really dropping the white pebbles to mark the way home. When they finally stopped, the woodcutter built a fire and left the children some crusts of bread for their supper. He said he and his wife would return when they were done cutting wood. Hansel and Gretel knew that they would not be back. They slept for a while by the fire, waiting for nightfall. Then, with the moonlight shining on the white pebbles, Hansel and Gretel followed the trail straight back to their home. "You bad children!" cried the stepmother when she saw Hansel and Gretel. "Why did you sleep so long?" But she was secretly angry that they had returned. The next day, the woman made her husband lead Hansel and Gretel back into the woods. This time, the woodcutter led Hansel and Gretel deeper into the forest. Hansel had not had time to gather pebbles, so he crumbled his bread and left a trail of crumbs instead. Hansel and Gretel slept until the moon rose. Then they searched for the path of breadcrumbs, but the bread had been eaten by the birds in the forest, so they could not find their way home. They searched until they were so tired that they had to stop and sleep. The next morning, they searched again. Then Hansel and Gretel saw a beautiful white bird who sang so sweetly. They followed him as he flew from bridge to bridge. Soon they found themselves in a small field where they saw the most amazing house. It was made of gingerbread with a roof of icing and windows made of sugar. The children were so hungry that they didn't stop to think. They each broke off a piece of the house and started to eat it. No sooner had they stuffed their mouths than they heard a gentle voice calling, "Nibble, nibble, like a mouse." "Who's that nibbling at my house?" The door of the house opened, and there stood an old woman leaning on a heavy cane. Hansel and Gretel were so frightened that they dropped what they were eating. The woman smiled and invited Hansel and Gretel into her house. Seeing how hungry and tired they were, Then she made up beds for them and put them right to sleep, as kind as any grandmother. Hansel and Gretel did not know that the woman who seemed so nice was really a wicked witch. Before Hansel and Gretel awoke the next morning, the witch carried Hansel to a little cage that she had built and locked him inside. Now, she cackled, I'll fatten him up. He'll make a tasty treat for me to eat. Then she woke poor Gretel and ordered her to fetch water and cook food for Hansel, because she wanted him to grow plump. Hansel and Gretel cried and begged to be set free, but the witch just laughed. Each day, the witch, who could not see very well, wanted to feel Hansel's finger through the bars of his cage. She wanted to know whether he was getting plump enough to eat. But he cleverly gave her only an old bone to feel. She thought he was still much too thin for her to eat. 4 weeks went by, and Hansel didn't seem to grow any fatter. Gretel could see that the witch was becoming very impatient. One morning, the witch ordered Gretel to make a fire. After a while, she told Gretel to climb up into the oven to see if the fire was ready. But Gretel said, "How can I get into the oven to see?" The witch became angry at that and climbed up into the oven to show Gretel how to look see his children once again. He had not had